Dear friends, today we begin the fourth day of our Marian consecration preparation. So today we begin with the book of the Imitation of Christ. You know, this book is very beautiful, very important. I will say second only to the gospel. And today the theme is humility. Let's listen what Thomas à Kempis says in this book. Lord, what is man that you are mindful of him, or the Son of Man that you visit him? What has man deserved that you should give him grace? So this is the first, I will say, marvelous things that God is interested in us. And we are so small, so weak. We have to recognize that God, omnipotent, He is interested in us. He loves us in a very special way. And we are almost nothing. We have to put all our trust in Him. We cannot just consider ourselves superior to anybody. Actually, as human beings, we're even inferior to the angels, the saints, all the creation, because we have sinned, because we are very, very weak, open and prone to sin, to all kinds of vices. So, first of all, we have to consider how humble we must be. And when we consider us as a sinners, we don't go into guilt or into sense of being nothingness, but we go into trust in God. If we realize that we are very weak, very sinful, then we have to grow in confidence that God will take care of us. The more we need Him, the more He comes to help us. So He says, you, God, you have forsaken me, or forsaken all my sins. And if I ask you why, maybe you won't answer me. Yes, for sure. If I ask you, you will be the first one to answer me, to welcome me, and says, I may truly think and say that I am nothing, and I can do nothing of myself that is good, but I am in all things defective, and ever tend to nothing, and useless. I am assisted and interiorly instructed by thee. So when I realize that I'm nothing, that I am really, I can do nothing for myself, then I realize that I am really instructed interiorly by you and assisted by you. These are the two sides of the coin. We are very sinful, but in the other side, God is very interested in helping us, in assisting us. You, Lord, are always the same and endure unto eternity, ever good, just, and holy, doing all things well. Look, here, this is important. God is doing everything well. So He did, and He created me also well. He gave me a family well. He gave me a job, an opportunity to grow my family well. So we have to recognize that what God did in us is not a failure, it's not something awful, but it's something beautiful, something marvelous. We have to look at our lives with the eyes of God. Then the imitation of Christ continues. It says, but I, who am more inclined to go back than to go forward, continue not always in one state, for I am changed 7 different times. This is something that is often happens in our life. We try to go back. We try to stop. We try to somehow be depressed or discouraged. No, it says we have to go forward. It is important to understand that we should not give up, even in the face of our iniquities, of our faults, of our sins. He says, I go back 7 times, but it quickly becomes better when it pleases thee. It pleases you, and you stretch out your helping hand. Okay, so as soon as God intervenes, as soon as it pleases God, we become better. we get off our own depression, our own discouragement, and we start walking. Not because we are great or superhumans, but because He is helping us. He is giving us a hand. He is giving us guidance. Then it says that my countenance shall be more diversely charged, but my heart be converted and finds its rest in thee alone. Yes, it says sometimes, our appearance, our soul is down, is depressed, is almost at the end. But then God intervenes. It says, but my heart be converted and find its rest in thee alone. And this is important, in thee alone. Because sometimes we look for help in different places. Sometimes we look for help from human beings. Yes, they can help us, but not like God. Actually, the deepest help, the deepest strength, the deepest life comes from God and God alone. Sometimes, we consider that maybe we didn't receive enough from God. Maybe we consider that maybe we didn't have enough from our life. Okay, this might be even true. But remember, there is only one person can satisfy, can help your life, can fill your heart, and that's only God. No human being can fill your heart. And then the imitation of Christ continues, says, he who would be too secure in time of peace will often be found too much dejected in time of war. Yes, maybe we are happy when everything goes right, when everything goes for our interest, when everything goes as we expect or want. But how are we when there is war? That means when things go wrong, when things are difficult. So it says it is important to feel that we have the strength, especially when things goes wrong, especially when times are hard and difficult. If you could always continue to be humble and little in your own eyes and keep your own spirit in due order and subjection, you would not fall so easily into danger and offense. So the problem begins with us, because sometimes we feel too secure, we feel too comfortable, we feel that we can do it on our own. And this is a big problem because on our own we cannot really do rightful things. We cannot fulfill and fill our hearts. So remember that it's only God can really make us faithful and fill and happy, because human beings are not able to fill the hole in our heart, because God is the one who created our heart, and our heart can find peace and joy only going back to the same God. So it says, it is good counsel that when you have conceived the spirit of fervor, you should meditate how it will be when that light shall be withdrawn. So the author of the imitation, he tells us, be careful. When you are too happy, you have to be careful, because the war is coming, the problem, the difficulties, failure is coming. How do we feel when we fail? Do we really feel that we trust in God more, or do we look back into ourselves and go down into the pit, go down into discouragement and depression? So today we should be able really to, first of all, recognize that we are human beings, that we are limited, that we are sinful, and that we really need God. He's the only one that can really fix our problems. Is God and God alone. Naturally, other people can help us. The church can help us. That's why we have the sacraments. But ultimately, only God can really fill the void in our heart. So let us keep this attitude of deep humility. Humility means to recognize that we cannot do it on our own. We only can do it with God. And so only with God we can really achieve our goal, achieve happiness, achieve fulfillment. That's the only way. And if I have put my trust in other people, maybe I realize that now I have to switch and put all my trust in God and God alone. So it is important to realize that. Yes, when we are happy and enthusiastic, yes, we can enjoy it, and it is good. But then we have to be very careful, because we have to be ready for the trial, for the test, for the difficulties. And we are ready only when we trust God and completely trust in Him. So let me give you two questions. First of all, do I recognize my limitations? Am I able to recognize my faults? Or do I think that everybody else is the cause of my problems? Or am I ready to blame everybody else instead of looking at myself and finding the real problem and limitations in my soul, in my life? The second question is, do I really trust God? Or do I go to Him only when I have no other way to go? I have no other solutions. Then finally, I go to God. Now it says we have to trust God immediately, always, because He is the one that knows our life. He's the one who created us. He knows how we are made. And then He knows how we should live. So let us first recognize our limitations, our sinfulness. And then secondly, let's not get depressed. It doesn't help anybody. But let us try to really put all our trust in God. He is the only one that can really make our life happy. Have a nice day, and bye-bye.